Hello everyone. Today in this video lecture we are going to study the most important topic in cardiovascular system, or we can say in the blood chapter, that is erythropoiesis. Now when we have a fetal stage, like when the human is in, or we can say an animal is in fetal stage, the erythropoiesis or the formation. Now firstly, what is erythropoiesis? Erythropoiesis is the formation of red blood cells. It is the formation of red blood cell. Now this in the fetal stage, the erythropoiesis happens in mesoderm, liver, and in bone marrow. And till the age of 20 years, the erythropoiesis happens in bone marrow of all long bones, in liver, as well as in spleen. Now after 20 years, what happens, that the erythropoiesis happens only in bone marrow, we can say red bone marrow of all long bones. So what happens in the adult stage? At this particular point we will study the erythropoiesis in bone marrow. So in bone marrow we have a cell known as pluripotent stem cells. Pluripotent stem cells. Now what happens to these pluripotent stem cells? That they get divided into two more cells. The first one is lymphoid stem cell, and the second one is myeloid stem cells. Now this lymphoid stem cell further divides into three types of cells: colony forming unit erythroid, colony forming unit granulocyte, and colony forming unit myeloid, or something like that. But at this particular time we have to focus on this colony forming erythroid. What happens to this colony forming erythroid? It is a cell, it gets changed, this colony forming erythroid gets changed into proerythroblast. Now what is this proerythroblast? Firstly, let us consider on the word blast. Blast means rapidly dividing cells. Blast is nothing but it is a rapidly dividing cell. So the colony forming unit erythroids gets changed into proerythroblast, and this proerythroblast has a prominent nucleus, ribosomes are also there, and other kind of structures. This proerythroblast is the first cell in the erythropoietic process which is generally visible to us, like which generally appears as a cell of blast, as a cell of formation. Then after proerythroblast gets changed into basophilic erythroblast. Why we are calling this as basophilic erythroblast? Because it shows us the basic stains due to the ribosomes, which gives a blue color. Okay, then we have polychromatic erythroblast. Now what is this polychromatic erythroblast? During this stage, when the erythropoiesis goes through this polychromatic erythroblast, hemoglobin also starts get forming. Then we have orthochromatic normocyte. In this orthochromatic normocyte, what we see, that nucleus leaves from the cell, as well as the size of the cell becomes less and less small. Finally it changed into reticulocyte, and reticulocytes changes into the normal RBC or matured RBC. So what is this reticulocyte? Reticulocyte is the fresh RBC which we see in the blood. Now generally the concentration of reticulocyte in blood is 1 to 2%, but if it proliferates or become less, then there is a problem in the patient or animal. Now let me revise it out for you. What is erythropoiesis. So erythropoiesis is nothing, it occurs in bone marrow, it starts in bone marrow. In bone marrow we have a cell which is known as pluripotent stem cells. Pluripotent stem cell, this pluripotent stem cell get divided into lymphocyte stem cell and myeloid stem cell. This lymphocyte stem cell further divide into some colony forming unit cell. One of the colony forming unit cell is erythroid. This colony forming unit cell erythroids gets changed into proerythroblast. Then this proerythroblast gets changed into basophilic erythroblast, where we are seeing a lot of ribosomes. Then this basophilic erythroblast gets changed into polychromatic erythroblast. What happens in polychromatic erythroblast? Hemoglobin starts getting formed, and after this polychromatic erythroblast we see orthochromatic normocyte. And in this stage, in this orthochromatic normocyte stage, the nucleus get out of the cell and it forms reticulocyte. Reticulocyte is the fresh RBC which appears in the blood, and it also does the circulation. And finally reticulocyte changes into a matured RBC. So this was all about the erythropoiesis, and I have made some only the I have written it in a short form, so but I have spoken it out for you, so you may make a proper note of that, and you also remember this, revise it properly. There is a rule known as RRR rule, which says that read, repeat and revise. Read, revise and repeats. Thanks.